What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle tonight. The wild card weekend's almost complete. There's only one game left between the Houston Texans and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And from what we've seen, it's going to be a tight game. It's going to be chaotic. Basically, every single game has come down to the wire at this point. And like I mentioned, heading into it in the preview of the week, the 2025 season has been anything but predictable. The postseason is going to be like that too. And wild card weekend was absolutely electric. We're going to start with New England and Los Angeles, maybe the least interesting one of all these matchups, but obviously Brady's in here, right? We have some Justin Herbert takes we're going to get into right now. Brady, why don't you kind of talk about, overall how the Patriots are able to get this thing done?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the defense really stepped it up, and especially they set the tone early on. I thought with that goal line stop after the interception that got batted up in the air on the Patriots' second drive, they held pat. And Harbaugh, after being conservative on the first drive and punting a 4th and 2 from midfield, decided to go for it on 4th and goal from the 2, and the Patriots broke it up. And it felt like that set the tone that the defense was going to play a big role for New England tonight. This game honestly felt a lot like Super Bowl 53, which was New England against another Los Angeles team where there was, a wacky interception early that got batted up in the air to the other team, and the defense just kept holding serve for New England. They were obviously the MVP of this game, and they had 6 sacks in the game, as Dan was saying pre-show, but only one of those was in the first half, and it came right at the end of the first half when Milton Williams probably should have been called for a roughing the passer on Justin Herbert, where he hit him in the head. I felt like there were some missed calls on both sides in that middle eight in the second and third quarter. But I felt like Herbert was never really able to get into a rhythm before the offensive line started collapsing in the second half, because it was clear that early on in the game, the Patriots were going to play a little bit more soft zone. They weren't really going to rush quite as much. They were kind of waiting to see. It felt like they were waiting to see if the Chargers were going to blink, and they wanted to figure out what the offensive game plan was for LA. And then in the second half, they started peeling their ears back, sending extra guys, sending a bunch of blitzes, and seeing if the offensive line could handle it, which obviously they could not. And on the offensive side of things for New England, it felt like they moved the ball actually pretty well in this game, but there were just a few mistakes. The interception that got batted up in the air by Tart, the fumble by Drake May after Will Campbell, who had a bad game, got smoked off the left edge. May has had a notable problem with that, with fumbling the ball. Almost had a second one late in the fourth quarter after Jared Wilson got beat. And it feels like maybe he's a little bit like too good at keeping his eyes downfield. Sometimes it feels like he's a little desensitized to his offensive lineman getting beat, which if you end up drawing Houston, you're going to have to be better at next week if you want to advance to the AFC Championship. But I felt like New England did do some really good things on offense. I remember in our prediction show earlier this week, I mentioned Ramondre Stevenson and how well he has played over the last month, and that continued tonight. 120 plus total yards. I think almost 80 receiving yards for Ramondre on a night where Trevion Henderson really couldn't do a whole lot. You didn't see a whole lot of Stephon Diggs. It was a lot of Ramondre getting the offense going on these little check downs where he would chip the block and then release out, and May would find him on a little curl route and get yards after the catch. Kayshawn Booty had a few nice plays, and although it wasn't Drake May's best night, I'd argue it was one of his worst since September. That throw to Hunter Henry was money, and it ended up being all that the Patriots needed. I tweeted it in the third quarter that if the Patriots can just get one touchdown, this game is probably over. The way that their defense is playing, they did that, and that statement ended up ringing true. So on the offensive side for LA, I can't pin it all on Justin Herbert. I can't say like Justin Herbert lost this game for them, but I think that he deserves a good portion of blame. I think the offensive line clearly was just an absolute travesty all year long, and that continued in the second half tonight. But like I said, Justin Herbert couldn't really get into a rhythm. He was missing a lot of throws that were available to him, especially in the first half and a few in the second half. I remember the go ball that hit Gonzalez in the back was really underthrown. Johnston was open down the field. And I think Herbert just couldn't get a lot on the ball tonight. He was, off platform a ton. It wasn't his best night. And I'm not going to say that he was the main reason they lost. But at this point, if you're Justin Herbert, you're 7 years into your career, 6 years into your career, I can't remember. And you're what 0-3 in the playoffs. You had a 27-0 collapse. You had a game where you threw four interceptions last year, and then tonight against the Patriots, you scored 3 points. You take 6 sacks. Not all on him, but it's just very evident to this point in Justin Herbert's career, he is not a playoff riser, and that's something that the Chargers are going to need to figure out as they move forward with him being like the cornerstone of their franchise.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Haywood's Almanac. I can't talk right now.
Okay, hey,
Dan, we're in Las Vegas right now. We're
yeah,
in
we're in
Las
Legion,
Vegas.
baby.
You're on the clock right now. You're picking.
That's all
Obviously,
right.
obviously one of the bigger debates I think coming from this game is who should be attributed the blame for this Los Angeles game, right? And kind of the what happened on the field. Dan, I want to hear why you think, Justin Herbert shouldn't, be at fault for this one.
Yeah, no, it was the story of the season. Came down to tonight. Their old line's banged up. Got the stats like heading into this game. They allowed 60 sacks this season. That's second worst in the league. He's pressured at 43% of the time. That's the highest in the NFL. I know at half, it says right here, according to the stats, he was sacked six times throughout the game. He was sacked twice in the first half. Going to halftime, it was a 6-3 ball game. If they don't go for it on 4th and 2 inside their 3-yard line. Instead, they should have took the points, in my opinion. They could have went to halftime even, so even score. But eventually, when the Patriots were able to score points, just Herbert's under duress, man. I mean, he's trying to make plays. You see his stats; he led his team in rushing, just like Drake May. He had 57 yards rushing. He only completed 61% of his passes, but he just wasn't comfortable all night. He just took a beating, and I don't think it's all on him. It's a team game. They couldn't block for him, which has been the story of the year, and he just couldn't get in rhythm. So I didn't leave this game today and say, "Wow, Herbert can't play in the playoffs. He's not a good quarterback. He's not clutch or anything." I mean, the poor guy's. I obviously I'm not timing it or grading it, but if I go back and I time it from snap to sack, I'm pretty sure they're probably under 2.5 seconds, which isn't his fault. He's just under duress. And I mean, whenever the Patriots brought blitz, five or more rushers, he had no time, and he's running trying to make a play, and then okay, he underthrew the ball. I mean, he's running outside the pocket. He's got to make a difficult throw. It's not like a layup. He also hit Keenan Allen over the middle in the hands. He dropped it. Just the overall it's a team effort. Their defense is really good, stingy, but after a while, if you're on the field the whole game, you're going to let up points, and that's that. Eventually, the dam broke, and Drake May found Hunter Henry late in the game. But it's just the story of the year is that the old line's banged up. They're down two All Pro tackles, in my opinion. They're two great players. It's just this is the dam finally broke tonight. There was leaks in the dam, and tonight it broke, and that's why they only got 3 points in the playoffs. It's unfortunate, but that's how it ended up tonight.
Yeah, I think the interesting part, coming out of this game is like this is kind of, what the Chargers are, right? They're a very talented team, right, that has some flaws and, no they were underdogs heading into this matchup. Let's not act like, they were world beaters coming in. They still had the concerns in the offensive line, but with the way things played out, and I thought their defense was going to give the Patriots offense some problems, and in the first half that's exactly what they did, right? There were multiple situations that they gave the Chargers offense opportunities to have success and get them within the game. And, honestly, they should have been leading at halftime, but they botched that goal line possession. And ultimately, right, they had to settle for 3 points going into half. New England thoroughly outplayed them in the second half. And in the first half, right, it came down to Justin Herbert specifically for me that I was frustrated with. And I thought the reason why the Chargers were struggling, Herbert looked to run way too early and often in this one, right? A lot of the concepts I thought were pretty poor from Greg Roman today against New England. The Chargers have struggled a lot this season. One, right, blocking up front, but like their receivers were not separating at all down the field consistently. And that was a big problem for them to start the game. And Herbert, once he saw that the first drive, his eyes were running right away. And he was still trying to hold on to the ball and make plays. And it doesn't need to happen. He had a ton of time in the pocket to decipher the Patriots defense that, they're a solid group, not one of the best units in football. And if you told me that the Chargers defense allowed 6 points going into the half, I would think that Justin Herbert, who is supposedly supposed to be as good as some of the best quarterbacks in the league, could have willed his team to 10 points by halftime, could have willed his team to 13 points by halftime against a pretty mediocre ranked defense in the air. That did not happen today. And sometimes all it comes down to is the quarterback in the playoffs. Yes, it is a team football game, but the quarterback has the biggest impact on these playoff games. It's the reality of the situation. If you have a great quarterback, you are going to win more playoff games. Justin Herbert is 0-3 in those games in his career. He was favored against the Jaguars. Last year, he was favored against the Texans, right? This year, right, he's a plus 3.5 on the road. No one expected him to be in this game, but it was also a matchup he could have had chances to exploit. He did not do that tonight, and it's a 3-game sample size. And Justin Herbert has yet to win the AFC West in his career. That's where he's at too. So you look at the division, right? I don't think Los Angeles is anywhere close to moving on from Justin Herbert or any trade rumors or anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it is a situation where there is a gap between the top tier guys and then Justin Herbert in that second tier.
Well, this is silently turning into like a Joe Burrow type of situation, especially with this, like, just not even just the O line, because obviously, like Dan mentioned, it's Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater out, and
Yeah,
they'll be
you
better in
can't-
that
you
area
can't-
next
yeah.
year. But it's the fact that I feel like this team has just, even since Harbaugh came in, it's supposed to be like, a breath of fresh air, and it has been to an extent regular season wise. They haven't paired the right talent around him. And one thing I did want to touch on outside of Herb, it's interesting. You can say this with another team too, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The two of the three best rookie wide receivers from last year, and Ladd McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr., pretty much no-showed this year in their sophomore season. And especially tonight for Ladd, he's supposed to be Herbert's guy, and he just did not show up at all. And that wasn't even who Gonzalez was guarding. It was Marcus Jones largely on Ladd McConkey, who is a good player, but Ladd's the number one. He was a 1,300-yard guy last year, and you expect him to be able to win more often. So that's interesting. Obviously, Neighbors was the best rookie receiver last year, but I think right behind him was Thomas and McConkey, and both of them took a big step back in year two.
Yeah, that was one of the separation of the receivers was a big concern, right, as well tonight. And I do think, right, Dan, like you mentioned, the offensive line, the second half they were abysmal. Everything went wrong for that offense in the second half, and there was nobody, maybe outside of Kamani Vidal, the only player I could say on the Chargers that had a really good game tonight. I thought he fought hard, he got some yards after contact. Outside of that, it was a bad performance from basically every other guy. On the Patriots side of things, like there's just not much to take away out of this one. Their defense played great. That was a nice surprise, I think, with how dominant they were, especially up front in that second half as well.
I was saying Milton Williams absolutely took over.
Williams, when he's healthy, has changed their defense. When he hasn't been healthy, they've been a bad defense. When he's been on the field, they've been a really good defense.
And that's what I keep pointing to when it comes to a potential Buffalo New England rematch for people that point to that game in December in Foxborough, is that he didn't play in that one. I think if they rematched, he would play a big role.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously,
I'm rooting for that, by the way. I'm rooting for that matchup. Not even because not just because I'm like, oh, I think the Patriots win. Like for the NFL, that'd be a great matchup. Part 3, May versus Allen, division rivals. Buffalo trying to make it for the first time since the '90s, and the Patriots trying to spark another dynasty. I think it'd be really cool.
I think that. Wait, did you just say dynasty already? Relax over there.
I said spark. Spark.
Relax.
How do you can't start a dynasty without one. You can't spark a dynasty without one, bro.
Let's just say Super Bowl first. Let's just say Super Bowl.
This guy.
In New England, we don't shoot for one in New England.
I will say this. I thought Drake May was going to play better than he did tonight.
I did too, 100%.
I think that he's probably getting Houston next week too. Let's see what happens next week.
I'm rooting for Pittsburgh. Everybody knows my thoughts on Aaron Rodgers.
Listen, I am interested to see what the fumbling problem is legit. Like I think Drake May is a very good improviser and plays well off script. I think partly though, him getting the ball out quicker might negate some of that and make him different. Like I think that McDaniel's development of him in this offense and like the way defenses play them next year, I guarantee their offense changes regardless. They're going to see a lot more like
cover 2, cover looks. 3.
They're not going to be getting one-on-one shots like they did this year. So like Drake May and his development, he's been really good holding on to the ball this year. And I'm interested to see, like, especially next week, they're going to go against Houston, who really doesn't have much of a weakness on the defensive side of the ball. Right?
Probably going to go against Houston.
Probably. I mean, Pittsburgh's got a good run defense. Their pass defense sucks. They'll shred.
Hey, I do think tomorrow night's game, I think, is going to be a lot similar to this one.
Yeah, it's going to be ugly. I mean, the Texans are the offense that'll score like twice, get 3 field goals or some stupid stuff, and like find a way. And then it's going to be a gritty, ugly game. Let's talk about the other games though. Right, Dan, I want to hear your opinion on this one. Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles, man. What is going on in Philadelphia? Let's just say my opinion real quick. It's time to make some changes. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just my initial takeaway is just surprising. I mean, the whole season the Philadelphia offense just hasn't looked good. They've been in a rut the entire year, and picking this game, 49ers are dealing with a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. They have linebackers that weren't even on the team a month ago. So, with all this talent that Philadelphia has, I expected them to put up more than 20 points. They only put up 19 today, and that was too much for them to score. They couldn't outscore the 49ers, man, who are banged up on both sides of the ball. It's just a terrible loss at home, man. Nick Sirianni was undefeated at home in the postseason, and to lose against a well-coached 49ers team, it's going to be a tough pill to swallow for the Philadelphia Eagles fans. Just my initial thing here is the Eagles only had 3 points off turnovers. They got to execute more there. Only scored 2 touchdowns all game, and they didn't score a touchdown on their final 8 drives. So I just think it's just an embarrassing loss for them. I think my
And
key
Saquon
takeaway,
Barkley had 100 rushing yards too.
yeah, he actually had a good day. I think okay, so my main thing this week was I was so frustrated watching these games when these coaches didn't take points. I thought the big difference in this game is in the second quarter, the 49ers offense was driving. They lined up on offense, 4th and 2. They showed something. Kyle Shanahan called timeout. They decided to kick a field goal instead. They took 3, okay, to make it a 13-10 game. Philadelphia winning. Those 3 points mattered in the end because it made Philly drive down the field and try to score a touchdown instead of kick a field goal to win it. And I thought that was the difference in the game. That was a huge call that I don't know if anybody's
Hey,
talking about it, but
that
to me,
missed
dude, you got to
PAT
take the
too.
points.
So
The
Yeah,
I
that was
the
did.
missed extra point, yeah.
I was
a
looking at
point,
it
but
too. Like, obviously, Pinheiro missed one too, but of 4 of the
yeah,
last 5 games in the NFL entering that game, there was a missed kick. 4 of those teams lost. All the teams that missed a kick lost, right? You have,
yep,
we'll talk about all those games, but McManus left 7 points on the board with missed kicks,
yeah. We'll
right?
talk about
Tyler
that.
Loop, infamous missed field goal. The Ravens season ends. And then obviously the opening, or no, it wasn't the opening game, the Bills and Jaguars game. Cam Little misses a field goal. They lose by 3 points. The special
I forgot
teams played a massive role, especially the kicking game, and all the kickers basically sucked this weekend, majority of them, and it cost their teams. But on Philly's side of things, this is exactly what we've gotten from their offense the entire year. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because they're the most talented roster in football. I don't think anybody's going to argue against that. It was just a horrible combination of you hire someone like, I'm not trying to trash Kevin Patullo, but he was not the right guy for the job this
I don't think it's
season.
all
And
his fault. I really don't.
I think a lot of it's his fault though. Like, look at the difference
It's definitely
between
Jalen
Kellen
too.
Moore. What?
It's
He
definitely
said it's,
Jalen.
it's Jalen too. I agree.
Oh,
Jalen was
well,
a
I
piece of
agree
the pie.
100%. 100%. Yeah. Okay, so let me get through this then, because
Yeah.
it starts with the OC. It starts with the scheme, and that changes it, right? You kind of see the effects of the scheme ripple on the player over time. Jalen Hurts, over time this season, got progressively worse, and now he kind of looks like a pumpkin back there throwing consistent. I mean, he's underthrowing balls 25 yards down the field. I know it's into the wind, but come on. Like, he is not a confident thrower of the football right now. And then the offensive line, like, their running scheme got significantly worse. And I know they had injuries on that unit throughout, but this was an Eagles team for about 5 straight seasons that could plug and play anybody on the offensive line, and they would run for 5 yards a carry in this offense. And over the course of the season, right, the lack of route tree for A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, that played a big role as well. A combination of all that stuff, and you have superstar players like Saquon, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith all regress, and they don't look as good. And that's not excusing A.J. Brown, who dropped some big passes today. And then Jalen Hurts on top of that, who is not an overly talented player, played probably at his peak level to close last season. And this is kind of the offense you get. And it's unfortunate because Vic Fangio is not getting any younger. Their defense is at their peak form. They have a lot of great young pieces together, but we know defenses don't last a long time in the NFL. So it's a wasted year of a ton of talent. And you have to look at Nick Sirianni, the guy that's the head coach, who doesn't really bring much to the table outside of being the head coach. A lot of head coaches in the NFL, they're either significantly involved on the offense or defensive side. Sirianni, he's not significantly involved anywhere. And it's unfortunate for the Eagles because you look at the other side of the ball in the 49ers, they have so many different good players injured on both sides of the ball, but it didn't matter because Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh are just that good at what they do and were able to devise a game plan that allowed them to beat them, right? It's coaching in the NFL is so important. And while I talk about quarterbacks playing a massive role, coaching is right behind a quarterback in terms of what it takes to go through and win a big game in the playoffs. And this was kind of a long time coming. I would not be surprised if Philadelphia moves on from Sirianni this offseason, but they're moving on from Kevin Patullo for sure.
Hey, so a couple things here. Number one is the question on everybody's mind this week is going to be: is Philadelphia, or is Jeffrey Lurie ballsy enough to fire a coach that won the Super Bowl last year? And I think that the answer really might be yes. And if it is,
Well,
John,
he was in the hot seat too before
well,
that
yeah,
Super
yeah, yeah.
Bowl win.
If
Yeah.
it is, if they are, John Harbaugh, it smells blood in the water. John Harbaugh will almost certainly be the next coach if Sirianni's fired. He's got Philadelphia ties. He's, not in my opinion, but apparently in the opinion of the masses, the best coach on the market. And I think that there's a reason that he held off on taking interviews this week, because he wanted to see if Buffalo or Philadelphia was going to lose and possibly do something rash and fire their head coach. And regardless of whether it is Nick Sirianni, John Harbaugh, or somebody else at the helm, I know Detroit has been linked to this guy, but Philly needs to do everything they can to get Mike McDaniel in the building calling their offense next year. I think that I called for that last year, and I think it would be a
I think that would
great,
be a great fit for what Jalen Hurts
There-
great,
is
great,
doing
great
now.
move. And Ryan, to your point, the defense will be hard to put together because so many of these guys are coming up on paydays in the next couple of years. Cooper DeJean, Quinion Mitchell, Jalen Carter, even the second, third tier guys like Jordan Davis are going to need new deals or they're going to walk. So you need to capitalize on the window. But for Philly fans, do not fret. If history tells us anything, you'll be back in the Super Bowl next year, because 2021 first rounded, 2022 in the Super Bowl, 2023 first rounded, 2024 in the Super Bowl, 2025 first rounded. So 2026, it might be your year, Philadelphia. We'll see if you hit on a coordinator like you did with Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore. But no, I mean, there are serious problems with the infrastructure of the Eagles. I think that there's a good chance. First off, if this does happen, major tip of the cap for an amazing career. There's a good chance that Lane Johnson calls it quits after this year, just how long he's played, how battered he has been, and how he's accomplished pretty much everything. Guy's a two-time champion. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He might decide to call it quits after some nicks and bruises this year. And then on top of that, I think we might have seen AJ Brown play his last game as a Philadelphia Eagle. Over the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of frustration build up with the coaching staff, with Jalen Hurts. We've seen a lot of weird drama. And for Philadelphia at this point, after the year he had, they might be considering, is the juice worth the squeeze? And AJ Brown, these diva type of receivers, even when they have a lot left in the tank, if they get dissatisfied of the situation, they, to be productive again, need to go somewhere else. You've seen it with Stephon Diggs, you've seen it with other prima donna wide receivers, and I think that there is a good chance that AJ Brown is, at the very least, I guarantee he's going to be shopped around. But I would not be surprised at all if he's on another team next year.
Yeah, 100% agree. I think AJ Brown's name is going to be a hot one this offseason. Okay. I want to talk about the Bears and the Packers. This game was insane. I mean, the Green Bay Packers through halftime were blowing the brakes off of the Bears. And in typical Bears fashion, through quarters 1 through 3, they play like a 5-win football team. And then in the fourth quarter, they turn it on. Somehow the other team does just enough to make it a one-score game, and the Bears absolutely come up in every single clutch moment. I mean, with what the Bears are doing, and I live in Chicago, so like everybody is just like people are going insane here. They didn't win a playoff game for like 5,500 days,
In
and
15 years.
it's
2010,
like a
right?
Super Bowl win
Yeah.
just coming
Yeah,
off of
Dan.
this game. And obviously, it being Green Bay, it's different. They scored 25 points in the fourth quarter. That's insane. And
Mhm.
right, there's multitudes of reasons why this is kind of happening, right? You look at the Bears side of it. I think Ben Johnson, the fourth downs, you have to live with them, right? You look at the Luther Burden one that was tipped to the line of scrimmage on their side of the field. If that ball is not tipped, Luther Burden's going 68 yards, and that's a touchdown on fourth down, and that's a game-changing play. If there is head coaches that I want to trust in that situation, it is a coach calling plays like Ben Johnson, and I'm okay with those, right? And sometimes that causes another team you're playing to score points early on because they have great field position. That happened in this one. On the flip side of the ball, the Bears get zero pass rush. So the opposing team is going to throw for a lot of yards. They're going to get theirs at times. But for some reason in the second half, the Bears make some adjustments. I think Dennis Allen is a great second half coordinator. Maybe not in the first half. He's not cooking, but he's finding ways to put these guys in the right spot in key situations. And it's caused a lot of turnovers this season. And then the main thing that everybody's talking about, Caleb Williams in the fourth quarter is just making those plays, right? He doesn't look good a lot of the game. He makes really bad throws. He misses open receivers. He doesn't a lot of
So
frustrating stuff with Caleb Williams throughout the game, but when it gets to the fourth quarter, he's lights out. He does everything he needs to go out and give the Bears a chance to win the game. And it's exciting because it just kind of feels like Caleb's playing at his floor right now, still with Ben Johnson at quarterback, and he's finding ways to win these games. Sure, the Bears might not be very good, but they're fun to watch and keep finding fun ways to win. And I think this roster is going to continue to get better, and Caleb will continue to get better. And he's starting to make those plays where you're like, man, that Caleb Williams guy is just a clutch quarterback.
yeah, well, Caleb, like you said, he's a little inconsistent. Like your connection was there for a second, Ryan. But I mean, if you can just get this guy to the fourth quarter, he does have like that. I don't even know. It's kind of cringy to call it like the it factor, but like that really is what it is. Like the guy lives for the big moments. Love him, hate him. I know a lot of people for some reason love to hate him, and I'm of the mind that Caleb Williams is a little bit outside that top 10 right now, maybe in that like 12 to 14 range. I think he's better than Bo Nix in this class.
The
I think
talent
he's
is
still
just so good. He just got to put it
exactly,
together.
exactly. The upside is the most of anyone in this class. The production and everything all considered, he's probably still the third best in this class, depending on how you feel about Jaden's health. But he's played great in these big moments and in the fourth quarter. And I'm not gonna lie, he had me sweating a little bit because I woke up this morning like, damn, if Drake May doesn't win, then two of these other quarterbacks in the class have a playoff win and he doesn't. So that would suck. But
That playoff
no,
class looks
that
good right now.
that fourth down throw will that's the best moment in Bears history in the last 15 years. And they're going to be talking all about it at least up until they play the Rams, which will be an interesting matchup. I'm not even gonna, I think that the road ends next week for the Bears, but I've been saying that for a couple of weeks now. And so you never know. If they have it a close game in the fourth quarter, we might see the Rams be booted. You never know. But I mean, Ben Johnson, what he's done, what a lot of these first year coaches have done, and even second year, and Mike McDonald, you see Liam Cohen, Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, all turning teams around that were really, really bad last year. And aside from Josh Allen knocking Cohen out in the last minute of the ball game, almost all made the divisional round. Johnson and Vrabel both got the 2 seed. Both are playing divisional round football, and it's just a testament to how good these coaches are. And in terms of the Bears specifically, Ben Johnson, he has instilled a lot of mojo and a lot of swagger into this team. I mean, you saw the clip of him. He's reigniting this rivalry. You saw the Matt LaFleur handshake. You
Yeah.
saw the F the Packers in the locker room. I F and hate those guys. Like, that's awesome. And that's what rivalries are for, right? And I think that the Bears have a lot of upside for the future outside of just this season. And I also want to say shout out to RJ Nowicki and Bad Boy CC. I'm happy for you boys. And it's been a good Drake May, Caleb Williams alliance for the three of us this season. But no, I also, my other takeaway, real quick, before I stop talking about the Bears, is that Colston Loveland is going to be a top three tight end in the league in short order. I was
Yep.
glad that I took him in our fantasy challenge for this wild card round, but he's a beast.
George Kittle, RIP the Achilles. That
Mm.
was a rough one.
He blocks really, really well. He's blocked really well since his days at Michigan. And Ben Johnson is incorporating him more and more into the offense. And it's becoming more and more clear that it's not Romo Dunze, it's not Luther Burden, it's not DJ Moore. Colston Loveland is who Caleb Williams is most comfortable throwing to, especially in high leverage
And it's
situations.
the fourth down plays. Who do they always go to? Colston Loveland.
Right, right, exactly. So they're a really exciting team, and sort of like the Patriots, they're playing with house money at this point, being this far into the season, being this deep in the weeds, and it's really exciting for a major city like Chicago that's gone a long time without seeing this kind of product on the football field.
Yeah, I said if they make the NFC Championship, we will be hosting another Blitz event downtown. So we'll see what happens there. But Dan, on the Packers side of this, right? There's a lot of people that could be blamed for this one. Obviously, Brandon McManus is my main reason why they lost, I mean, you leave 7 points up on the board. They're up by that many points already. That's going to cost you. But there's a lot of Packers fans that are saying LaFleur should not come back as the coach next year. What are your thoughts on that? I think he'd be the best candidate available
That's
and would be hired
idiotic.
within seconds.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's on a he next 2026. He's kind of like a
He's got
lame
1
duck.
year left. Yeah.
Yeah. So this 2026 season is like his last year. So his
Could be
future,
fired though.
they're gonna discuss his future with the president like tonight or tomorrow morning. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. Obviously, yeah, it doesn't look good. I'm sure all the Packers fans are really upset. But I personally wouldn't do it. Like he's a good coach. He gets you in the playoffs every time. I don't care if it's the 7th seed. You're always in the dance. That's all you can ask for. The team dealt with a lot of injuries this season, and it came back to bite them in this game. Like I'm sure if you had a Mika Parsons, you don't blow it. You don't blow this lead. You don't give up 25 points in the fourth quarter. You don't give up 28 in the second half. They were
Tucker
outscored 28
Kraft.
to 6. Yeah, exactly. They dealt with injuries. Like they're banged up. For the Packers to even make the playoffs was a testament
Zach
to
Tom
coaching.
too.
And yeah, Zach Tom didn't play the right tackle. It's a testament to coaching and the players to execute. I mean, they lost 4 straight heading into the playoffs. So yeah, obviously I wouldn't do that. I don't know what they're gonna do, but yeah, they let them hang around and they just couldn't finish. Their first 4 drives out of halftime, it was 4 punts, and then the Bears scored 13 points off that. And you look up at the scoreboard, it's 21-16. It's a brand new ball game. So it's unfortunate for the Packers fans, but I had a feeling, dude. I'm telling you, there's something different about this Bears team. That's why I thought the Bears were going to win this game. When we talked about a prediction show, there's something different about it. This win was for all the fans for that 2010 NFC Championship game. I'm telling you, they still think about it. I grew up in Chicago. That's all they think about. BJ Raji in that game. Jay Cutler only played 2 quarters. Dude, they're still upset about it, but I'm telling you, there's something different. It's a new era. They finally didn't blow a game at the end. They finally slayed the dragon. The demon's gone. And you never know, man. This win alone could potentially launch the Bears as the new Green Bay Packers of their division. And if the Packers decide to clean house, will they ever be back in this position again? Who knows?
Two
You'd be surprised,
massive
man.
primetime wins over Chicago in a span of like
Dude, you
3
never know,
weeks.
man.
Or over Green Bay,
This
I
is how it
mean, for
happens.
Chicago.
Well,
This is franchise
I think
altering thing.
yeah, I think the biggest reason that Packers fans are also like, we got to get LaFleur out is they haven't lost to the
Overreacting.
Bears in so long.
Yeah.
They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to handle losing the Bears right now, and they're freaking
Exactly.
out. So they're just like, yo,
Yeah.
let's get the coach out of here. That's
Overreacting.
obviously the problem. All right, some other good games. The Bills and the Jaguars. This one lived up to the hype, right? The Jaguars, I mean, we'll talk about kind of Trevor Lawrence.
This was the game of the slate for me.
It was. I mean, these honestly, like I mentioned, I think one of these two teams were making the AFC Championship in our preview. I thought both these teams were really good football teams, and I picked the Bills because their quarterback was better. And Trevor Lawrence, while I thought he had some really good moments today, he had 2 really bad moments in this one that kind of cost them the game ultimately. I thought, what was interesting with the Jaguars game plan, they didn't run the ball enough on the outside, right? They kept mentioning on the broadcast, every time they threw the ball, or not throw the ball, they ran the ball outside the tackles. They were getting 8 to 10 yards a pop with ETN and 2.
They kept abandoning it.
They kept abandoning it and just saying, here you go, Trevor, here you go, here you go. You just have to run the ball against the Bills. You just run the ball. Like, they are not stopping it. It is very clear.
That's what happened in New England a month ago. They stopped running the ball after they were crushing Buffalo with it, and it came back to bite them. Same thing today.
You got to just stay with the run. You can't get in the mindset with Buffalo that, all right, we like our quarterback. Our quarterback's good. We're going to have to throw the ball and get him some touches.
You can't go shot for shot with Josh Allen. You can't
run the ball. And then Josh Allen, like, he was really solid in this one. Like, James Cook didn't have a massive game, but Allen found ways to make plays when they needed to, made the big throw to Brandon Cooks. And like, their offense wasn't great in the first half at all by any means. They struggled a little bit, but when you needed them to be good most, Josh Allen made the plays he needed to. Once again, another efficient postseason performance. Got that road win. I think Buffalo is moving in the right direction right now. And obviously their defensive structure is meant to beat Kansas City. But when you face a high passing, volume team like the Jaguars, right? Next week they face the Broncos, who rank top 10 in the NFL in pass attempts per game, right? They're going to have success because they're beat to build passing offenses, right? They're not meant to beat a team like Who's a good running team in the AFC off the top of your head? I mean, there's not really one.
Nobody left right
Yeah,
now.
Buffalo. I guess. Yeah, no real like an elite running team. They're not meant to beat those guys. They're meant to beat the pass defenses. I think that bodes well, especially for their next matchup against the Broncos. I'm happy that the Bills are moving on. I'm not happy. I used Josh Allen in the first round of our playoff challenge. Had
Hey,
to.
so did I because I thought he was gonna lose.
I hedged my bets though. I went Allen at quarterback and ETN at running back, so I at least had
Me
James
too.
Cook.
Me too. I
Yeah,
used both those guys as well.
So I had to kind of hedge it a little bit, but Buffalo, they're going to be favored in every game to close the stretch. I guarantee it in sports books. It's just going to be a matter of can this team continue to find a way to win in these close games while the other inexperienced teams enter this postseason. And they're going to get Houston potentially again, and that's going to be another demon that like the Bears had to overcome the Packers. That's going to be a demon that the Bills are going to have to overcome because they've struggled against them the last 2 years.
I gotta go to Mile High first.
Yeah, I got
Well,
something
I'm just
for you.
saying. I'm just saying. I think Mile High. I might be overlooking Mile High just a little bit.
No, I've got Buffalo too, but I'm saying
And
it's
it's
no
a short
walk in
week,
the park. Yeah,
a short week. Hey, no, real quick about this game. I didn't agree with it. Another weird decision. The Jaguars are up 7-3 in the second quarter.
yep.
They had that a fumble off the kickoff. They got a golden opportunity to add some points. They go for it 4th and 2 instead of taking points.
Trevor
Don't
sold that
understand
so hard.
I said the same
Dude,
thing, Dan.
But why are they going for it? Just take
You
points.
can't get a
Take the
free
points.
turnover like that in such good position and come away with no points. It can't happen.
Dude, and I'm telling you, okay, I think from that point on, it flipped the momentum of the game. The Bills after that go 10 plays, 92 yards, take the lead 10-7. And then I think
that's kind of what
why they
happened
kind of
tonight
abandoned the
too
run.
between the Patriots and Chargers. Right?
I was
dude, it's the theme of the weekend for me, man. These coaches.
I was honest. Take the points. Take the points.
Nobody's taking points. I don't.
I was
understand
honestly
it.
surprised.
Screw the analytics, man.
I was surprised that Jacksonville was able to take the momentum back because, like you said, like after that point, Buffalo scored again, and it felt like with them getting the ball in the second half, it felt like Buffalo was about to really take control, and Jacksonville was actually able to claw back, but that ended up being a death blow.
Exactly, and my takeaway is the coaches who didn't take the points today all lost.
Hey, Dan Campbell will be tried for his war crimes against the NFL with this fourth down code.
Yeah, dude, he started. They're all degenerate gamblers, man. I don't understand it, dude. Take the points.
All right, they trust their offenses maybe a little too much.
All right.
Yeah, and then I mean, even Trevor Lawrence had 3 touchdowns too. Sorry, Trevor Lawrence had 3 touchdowns against the number 1 ranked passing defense. Just he threw
the one that I'm just like still going over in my head is like Trevor Lawrence, the 4th and 2 on their side of the field, and he just like has the worst dive attempt ever. His knees down, and he's like that play was insane.
You got to be willing to get hit. It's January, buddy. You got to get the first
that one was insane. All right, final game of the week. This is me and Brady's pick right here. The Los Angeles Rams. My goodness,
not feeling as good about it after yesterday.
No. There's something about Bryce Young when he plays the Rams that he just turns it up to another level because there's 2 games against the Rams. I'm like, okay, this guy's pretty good at football, right? Every other game I watch Bryce Young, I'm like, Panthers cannot pay this guy, but when he plays the Rams, he locks in, and he's a baller. I mean, the Rams offense, I didn't think they played very well. They scored 34 points against a pretty good defense, so there's that silver lining. I'm interested to see Matthew Stafford's injury, how serious his hand injury is going to be for him. I don't expect him to miss this week by any means, but it's something to monitor for sure. But what was interesting? Like it almost felt like, when J.C. Horn was able to take away Devontae Adams a little bit in that game, and Puka Nacua, right, started the game off really strong. They didn't go back to their tight ends, right? The tight ends have been a big part of this passing game.
It started running way more 11 personnel.
Yeah, they need to go back to that, 13 personnel, tight end sets, get all those guys back on the field. I thought they could have ran the ball more. They didn't really stick with the run game. It just kind of felt like a weird game for the Rams, almost like they were like, okay, we're going to beat the
I thought they might have overlooked them a little bit.
Yeah, it almost felt like that when watching. And the Panthers, credit to them this season. I think they're a very underrated football team. They have a really underrated defense specifically. I'm interested to see kind of where they go in the offseason and what moves they make going forward.
I don't think Bryce or Dave are the guy. I
don't know about Dave, though. Like, it's hard to judge Dave because of Bryce.
Yeah, I
know?
guess that's true, but I'm not 100% sold on Dave. I'm definitely not sold on Bryce. I think that they at least have to bring in some veteran competition for him. Even if you want to stick with him as a starter, you got to give someone to like really push him in camp because the trajectory just hasn't been upwards enough, even though it has gotten slightly better each year. It's not, the ceiling isn't nearly where it needs to be. But in terms of the Rams, it was, I mean, Mike Jackson did a hell of a job on Puka Nakua after that first drive, honestly, and he played a great game for Carolina, especially when J.C. Horn went
You had
down.
people thinking that he couldn't beat man coverage.
Yeah, I
That's
know. I
that was that was
saw
the
those.
stupidest Twitter trend of Saturday is Puka
No,
Nakua can't beat
like
man
he might not
coverage.
be the world's greatest separator, but he's still he can beat man coverage. It's
Like
obvious,
the
but
everybody forgot like the week before like one-handed contested catches and just mossing guys. I don't know what
right,
happened in the Twitter
like he
world for
doesn't
the
he doesn't usually need to separate because he can make insane catches anyways. But I felt like, I mean, I can't say too much because May didn't play a great game either. But Matthew Stafford definitely didn't have an MVP type of performance. Neither one of these guys did this weekend, and it was a hot start for Stafford. It felt like the opening script was a lot of easy looks for him, and a lot of McVay did a really good job with that first 10 to 15 plays. And after that, Stafford just looked lost out there. He couldn't get outside the pocket. That's never part of his game, obviously, but like he was missing throws. The one throw that he got sold on was that deep ball to Puka at the end of the first half that he dropped, which is very uncharacteristic.
Yep.
And the mistakes that the Rams were making yesterday are the type of mistakes that you can't afford against Seattle or San Francisco if you run into them and you make it to the NFC Championship. You might can get away one more time against Chicago, maybe. I don't know, but I'm telling you, like the Rams that we've seen, me and you, Ryan, we're picking the Rams based off of the ceiling and based off of the highs that we've seen this season. But the Rams that we've seen over the last 6 weeks do not look like a team that can win the Super Bowl. And especially in the secondary, they don't look like a team that can win the Super Bowl at this moment.
Dan, so like hearing me and Brady's thoughts on them, do you feel more confident in the Seahawks winning the NFC?
Yeah, yeah.
I
Regardless,
do.
I mean, yeah, I've been saying it for a while. The concerning thing about the Rams is not their offense, is the Matthew Stafford. It's their defense. Their defense has given up way too many points. What, the last 4 weeks? And I
Yeah.
thought with
Ever since that
Quentin
game in
Lake,
Carolina at the end of November.
yeah, and then ever since Quentin Lake finally came back, and I'm like, okay, they're going to be able to contain explosive. They're giving up way too many explosive plays, and it continued in the first round of the playoffs. That's concerning, and especially when you look at the schedule and see who they got next. They got the Bears, man, who can go toe to toe with anybody.
If
It
it's
could be
close in
another
the fourth
shootout,
quarter, look out.
dude. It's gonna be another crazy shootout game, and it's just a dangerous way to live in the playoffs, man. It's just another coin flip game, and the Bears could win. The Bears could easily win next week. So they have to figure out something on defense because it's not working right now, and
Yep.
I would be concerned if I was a fan.
The Rams have given up 27 points in 5 of their last 7 games. That's not going to cut
Exactly.
it. And I mean, like, the funny part is you watch that game against the Panthers, they started it perfect. Like, they were getting good pass
Yeah.
rush, they were stopping the run, their secondary was on time. It just felt like something just flipped, like, for the entire team. Their offense just was like, "All right," and then their defense just was like, "Meh."
I was gonna say
And
once they got a lead, it felt like it was like,
yeah,
okay, we're good to go. Like we can just cruise the
just
rest of
pack
this
it in.
game.
And, like, okay, so, like, the Rams, they have a great front, and Angels saying Chris Shula is massively overrated. You've kinda seen Rams DCs kind of fizzle out as head coaches, and, coordinators elsewhere, so
The boy Raheem.
I think the Rams defensively, they're just a good team that has a good front. They have a good front. Like, every other piece on
Fast.
their defense is not that great, so if you have a team that can pass block well,
I
which the
like
Bears
Landman.
do.
That's about it.
Yeah, like, the Bears are gonna pass block well. They've done that the entire season. They are gonna be without Ozzie Trapilo on the left
Yeah,
side. That's a
huge loss.
big
Yeah.
loss for them, right? But they've been a really good pass blocking offense the entire year. So if the Rams aren't able to get pressure against Chicago, we could see some offensive fireworks in that one, even if it's supposed to be probably 20 and windy and snowy here in Chicago. So it'll be
Well,
interesting on that one.
the other thing, Ryan, is
Can
like
they stop the
you
run?
talk about the front is the obvious strength of this defense. The way that Caleb Williams maneuvers outside the pocket and the way that he evades sacks could even neutralize that in a way.
Yeah. Well, they're lucky on that front too. Like Jared Verse is hella athletic. Like they got some faster rushers there. I think the interesting part with that matchup of Los Angeles and Chicago is more of the other side of the ball, right? We've seen Stafford pick apart defenses that don't get pressure, and the Bears are going to be down TJ Edwards too, a linebacker for them. I'm interested to see, like, will they just go 11 personnel like we talked about? Are they going to go back to 13 personnel and say, we're going to get big, we're going to bully you, and we're just going to find ways to separate with
They just
our
got to do the
receivers?
Bears got to do what they've done all year and force a turnover or two because they're not going to get consistent stops and they're not going to get to the passer a ton. They got to get a
Stafford's been
pick or
having
a
a lot of
forced
them too, though.
fumble. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it'll be interesting. All right. Well, appreciate you guys tuning into these wild card reactions. Tomorrow we'll be back. Steelers Texans reactions, talk about some of those divisional games. If you guys made it to the end of the video, appreciate all of y'all. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Angle content. Me, Dan, and Brady. We'll catch you guys next time.
Yes, sir.